Please take a very close look at these two pictures on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to compare, but this is the reality that we have right now. On the right-hand side of your screen, you see a BJP leader with a pistol firing into the air for the 9 baje 9 minute call made by the Prime Minister yesterday, making a total mockery of what the Prime Minister had called for in a united fight against COVID-19. That's what you see people doing in our country. And on the left-hand side of your screen, India's most fearless heroes, 5 commandos who had no time, who had no space and no freedom to celebrate 9 baje 9 minute yesterday because they were too busy fighting terrorists. That's right. Even as the world unites against COVID-19, these 5 men had to go up against terrorists that Pakistan has continued to push across the line of control. As India fights the COVID-19 virus, these 5 Indian Special Forces commandos were forced to make the supreme sacrifice in North Kashmir yesterday. As the country was getting set for 9 baje 9 minute, we would be failing in our duty here in India today if we didn't make this our top story today. The 5 braves of the Special Forces who died fighting Pakistani terrorist infiltrators at the line of control in Kupwara are Subedar Sanjeev Kumar, Havildar Davendra Singh, Paratrooper Bal Krishan, Paratrooper Amit Kumar, Paratrooper Chhatrapal Singh, all from the elite 4 Para Special Forces unit. On April the 1st, drones spotted infiltrators from across the line of control in the Kupwara sector. On the 2nd of April, Army infantry troops were deployed for combing operations there. On the 4th of April, 2 squads of the Special Forces, this is Saturday, they were deployed, including the 5 men you see on your screens right now. While on April the 5th, the infiltrators were cornered in a dense forest, an extreme close combat and a crossfire took place. 5 terrorists were killed and 3 commandos, 3 of the 5 faces you see on your screen, were also forced to make the supreme sacrifice at the encounter site. 2 commandos succumbed to their injuries later in the night after they were airlifted to Srinagar. Subedar Sanjeev Kumar and Paratrooper Bal Krishan were from Himachal Pradesh. Havildar Davendra Singh and Paratrooper Amit Kumar were from Uttarakhand, and Paratrooper Chhatrapal Singh was from Rajasthan. The youngest of these commandos were in their mid-20s. Let that register, ladies and gentlemen. As the world fights a common enemy in coronavirus, these 5 men had to fight our age-old enemy, Pakistani terror. I want to go across to my 2 colleagues, Gaurav Sawant, who's with us, who's been tracking this report, as well as Abhishek Bhalla, defense editor. Gaurav, to you first. An absolutely devastating cost has had to be paid for the continuing terror that Pakistan continues to send across the line of control, even at this time. It is unbelievable, Gaurav, that the world has united against coronavirus. Pakistan itself is suffering from coronavirus, but they still have continued to send their vermin across the line of control, forcing India to pay such a high cost in the lives of these 5 brave commandos.
Shiv, you're absolutely right. Very highly trained soldiers of the Indian Army, 4 para special forces. They were heli-lifted and airdropped very close to where these terrorists were. Shiv, this is a high-altitude battlefield in Kupwara. Now, there is a fence, but that fence, and you can just imagine that fence was buried in snow. Inclement weather. It's been snowing very heavily in this very thickly forested part of Kupwara in North Kashmir, and that is where in that snow, as you very rightly pointed out, on the 1st of April, some footprints were noticed. 5 bags were spotted. Unmanned aerial vehicles were pressed into service, and Pakistani terrorists were infiltrating, taking advantage of inclement weather, aided by the Pakistan army. Imagine the whole world is fighting coronavirus. India is fighting it within and helping other friends in the region. But Pakistan, despite suffering coronavirus, is sending the virus of terror into our country. And these brave soldiers of the special forces, they meticulously tracked these Pakistani terrorists. They were on a cornice, and this This cat and mouse game continued for 3 days, Shiv. They were on a cornice and suddenly that cornice gave way. The soldiers went crashing down, but such was their training, from what sources in Kashmir Valley are telling India today, that even though they fell into a nala, that's exactly where the terrorists were also hiding. There was a fierce firefight. They succeeded in killing all 5 terrorists, heavily armed terrorists. Unfortunately, 3 braves made the supreme sacrifice of their lives right there. 2 others succumbed to their injuries later, Shiv.
Abhishek, this was a devastating close combat encounter. The bodies of our braves and those terrorists that Pakistan sent across were found just a few meters away from each other. This was, I think in many ways one of the most scary operations. It's not like these special forces were not trained or not prepared. They were totally prepared, but there was an element of bad luck. They fell into an area where the terrorists were hiding, and that's when this close combat encounter took place.
That's right, Shiv. They virtually came face to face, firing at each other. That's when they managed to neutralize the terrorists as well. But the timing of this infiltration bid is extremely significant, as Gaurav was pointing out. This is a time when the world is fighting the COVID-19 outbreak. But here is Pakistan trying to make sure that it sends terrorists across the line of control. And this is not the only case, Shiv. In fact, there have been casualties on both sides in Kupwara and North Kashmir. But south of Pir Panjal, I have been getting information from sources that over the last 10 days, almost every day there is a ceasefire violation. In fact, even late last night, there was a ceasefire violation in the Punch area in south of Pir Panjal. So there is a clear trend, and this has been happening over the last few days.
Absolutely.
Most of these infiltration bids have been foiled as far as that area is concerned. But here in North Kashmir, which is still submerged under snow, there was a fierce encounter between the terrorists and the special forces. Unfortunately, we lost 5 of our brave men, but 5 terrorists were also killed.
Pakistan has signaled that it does not care two hoots about COVID-19 or the fact that this is an existential crisis for the country, for the subcontinent, for the region. They will continue to play their part as terroristan and continue to send these terrorists across the border, across the line of control. And India will continue having to fight them. In this particular encounter, it was a terribly high cost for the country with 5 young men. And our thoughts, Abhishek, me and Gaurav and the rest of us here at India Today, pay our tributes to their families, to the 4 para special forces and to the Indian Army, because those are the families that these men know. And we will never stop saluting our braves as we continue to cover this crisis. Abhishek and Gaurav, thank you so much for joining me. Well, from heroes to the very opposite end of the spectrum.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.